Heidi ho there, friends and neighbors. Bob Question and Answer Show. This is our sixth one that we've had so far. So it looks like we have two people here tonight, and I'm sure we'll hopefully get a few more here with us tonight. I'm here to answer any of your questions that you may have on automobiles, automobile repair, and or if you're having a problem with your own personal car, please let me know. I might be able to help you out. Okay? And also any home improvement questions that you may have. Okay, so I'm here. We got three people here tonight. So if you're new to the show, let us know where you're from. Okay, we've had people from all over. We've had people from three different countries and several different states around here. Okay, and let's see here. Let me get my screen here right so I can read when we do start getting some questions. I want to be able to read them off of my computer screen here. Okay, guys, first of all, let's see. I want to remind you if you want to contact me or if you have a company and you want me to do a product review or something, it's minthillbillymail at AOL.com. You can email me and I'll get to it and I will email you back. What did we do this week? We actually had a job that we worked on this week. Started last weekend. First day we went out, I took my son with me. Like I've been telling you guys that trying to get teaching my son some vocational skills. We went out and done a hard day's work. We tore down a metal storage building and hauled it, put it in a trailer and hauled it off. Got rid of it. We done some pressure washing. Actually got up on the roof with a blower and blew out some gutters and stuff and got my son up on the roof as well. That was the first time I believe he'd ever been up on a roof. Okay, it was only like a 312 pitch, so I knew he'd be all right up there. It's not very steep, just about like that right there. So anyway, we done that. Let's see, what else did we do? We mounted a new pre-hung door on the back door of this house. And if you've seen my videos this week, I've had a couple videos on that. I've done a video on removing a door and then done a video. Actually, it ended up being two parts because it was so lengthy, a part one and a part two of how to install a pre-hung door. Okay, so if you want to check that out, you can go to where my video list is and check those out. Let's see, what all have we done? Okay, I guess that's about it. And I do have to mention once again, I know I've made a couple review videos on that 30-second cleaner, but we did have a spot over there on that job where they wanted us to pressure wash the boxing and underneath this porch where it had mildew real bad. I mean, it's like the northern side of the house and just didn't get a whole lot of sunlight. Had a lot of mildew underneath there, and I tell you what, you spray that stuff on there and it just knocks it out. It just eats that stuff off of it, and when you go and hit it with a pressure washer, I mean, it just does a wonderful job. I really like that stuff. Anyway, we did start our review video on the Leobo Sonic toothbrush, and we'll hopefully have that ready sometime probably next week. I'm going to use the toothbrush for several days and see how I like it, and we'll give you a thorough review on that product as well. Also, there'll be links down below if you want to support our channel on Patreon. There'll be a link for that. And we're also on Facebook and Twitter, and I think I'm actually on Instagram, but I'm not real sure. And I may actually put a link to that. Minthillbilly is not too hip on all this social media stuff, okay? But I'm trying to be everywhere so we can, put links to different stuff, videos or pictures or whatever on different stuff. So I'm going to try to find out what my Instagram link is, and I may have that down below. They start putting that on all the videos as well. And let's see what we have coming up this next week. I do know we will be making a video on installing some foundation vents this week. So we will be doing that as well. And I'm also going to do a video on trimming out a window and trimming out a window and without painting the window shut, okay? So we'll try to focus on maybe some tips on keeping you from painting a window shut if you end up painting one. Okay, guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. Questions about your car, maybe something that's going on with your car, maybe a check engine light problem, let me know. I may know off the top of my head, or I can do a little research here. I got a page of internet up. Questions about your car, questions about home improvement, just fire away. We're going to be here till 9:30 tonight. Okay. Looks like we have 4 people with us tonight. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see here. I do have a few talking points tonight. I know last week we had some literature that we printed off, and we were talking about some home stuff, things that you could do around your home. Well, today I've kind of turned it over to car stuff, okay? Let's get back on that subject and printed off some different info from different websites, and I won't mention the websites, okay? Because I may not agree with everything they say. And we'll talk about that once I get into it. But there are articles on how to get your vehicle ready for summertime, okay? And some of the things I definitely agree with, and we're going to start here. This one here is like 5 tips for a road trip. Okay, road trip season, okay, so summer. Check air pressure in tires and remove winter tires, okay? Down here in the South, we don't have winter tires. So I know up north, sometimes people do have different tires that they put on the cars for the winter and the snow and all that. So if you're up north, I can see that you would probably switch your tires over. But down here, we don't do that. But checking air pressure, that's definitely a very important thing. That should be done every time, at least every time you change your oil, or actually more often than that. Keeping that air pressure in your tires is very important to get maximum tire life out of your tires, and it can be a safety issue if your tires are running slack. Okay, the tire can overheat and create a problem. All right, number 2 on the list, checking your AC system. Okay, really, I don't know if I recommend going out and spending money every year to like have a mechanic hook gauges up to your car and check it out and all this, that, and the other, okay? I don't really agree with that. A lot of these websites have this written on here as something to do, once a year or once every summer. If you're having a problem with your AC system, yes, go have it checked out. It's probably low in refrigerant because it has a leak, and that leak needs to be found, okay? So it can be corrected. It's not normal to have refrigerant put in your car once a year or something like that. I've worked at shops before where they had that mentality and they just wanted to charge for that service, once a year or whatever. That's really not the right way to do things. I mean, I have a vehicle, my 2000 Ford Ranger, which I've had since 2006, I have never had to put refrigerant in that car, okay? Except when I done the timing belt and I had to disable the AC system, to do the timing belt and then put it back together. I've never had a problem. If you don't have a leak, it's not going to go anywhere, okay? There's really no reason to have it checked out, pay money to have it checked out if you're not having a problem. I mean, you got common sense. You can tell if you're having a problem with your car. If it's not blowing cold, go have it checked out. Now, one thing I do recommend, a lot of these newer cars have cabin air filters, okay? Cabin air filters can get clogged, and that can reduce airflow across the evaporator, okay? And you won't get as much air blowing out of the vents, so it's not gonna, that's the only thing that I would check and have that changed periodically, okay? The cabin air filter. And on older cars that didn't have that, no need to worry about it, okay? That's kind of my thought on AC, on checking an AC problem out. Inspect your wiper fluid and wiper blades. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you definitely want to, that's just common sense stuff. You know, you always want to make sure you have some wiper fluid in there, especially in the wintertime, you know, because that's when you're going to have, you know, ice and stuff can build up on your windshield. And you definitely want to have something in there that does have some type of methanol or some type of de-icer in there as well, okay? And be careful because there's a lot of shops that will just put blue, they'll color water basically and put that in your car. And then you'll end up with a washer jug in the wintertime that's frozen solid and it busts, okay? So as far as washer fluid, I actually just recommend purchasing that stuff yourself at the auto parts store or at Walmart or anywhere like that because it's dirt cheap and it's pretty simple. Just pour that in it yourself, okay? Don't let anybody pour anything in there that may not be a up to standard or what have you, okay? And of course, checking wiper blades. That's definitely something that you don't want to get stuck on a trip many miles from home in a town you're not familiar with in a rainstorm and you can't see out your windshield, okay? So definitely want to check them periodically. Okay, perform an under hood inspection. And under this category, they have several things here. And that was number 4 on the list, checking your battery, okay? And I can just say this, guys, if you start to have, like if one day you get in your car and it cranks kind of slow, okay, well, it probably ain't going to get no better. Probably something is going bad. You got a cell getting ready to kick off, or that battery's starting to get weak. I would go ahead and go have it checked, you know, have it load tested to make sure it's still staying, you know, above 9.6 volts under half of its load capacity. And if not, replace that battery, okay? And sometimes batteries a cell will just die. This has happened to me twice in my lifetime. One time I was on the way to the beach, okay? No signs of problems at all with the battery. We pull over somewhere and park and go to crank it up, will not crank. So we jump started. I went to a parts store and I put the battery in the car myself right out there in the parking lot. Another time I was dropping my son off at school and had to park and walk in to carry a project or something like that. Come back out to crank it up, bam, same thing. Okay, so dead cell. When somebody helped me jump start it, brought it back home, and it had registering 10 volts. One of the 2-volt cells had just died. So anyway, battery, definitely want to, if you're having any type of problem, definitely get that inspected. Also, they're mentioning here corrosion on the battery terminals. That's something simple that you can take care of yourself. You can purchase corrosion cleaner in a spray can, and if you can just even if you're not inclined to take the battery terminals loose or you don't want to mess with that, if you'll just spray the top of that battery and then hose it off with a little bit of water and wipe it clean, that's going to help. That's going to help some too right there. Because when acid gets on top of a battery and there's like an acid trail between the positive and the negative and then down the side of the battery, well, it's slowly draining your battery. Battery voltage is getting released through that acid on top of that battery, is slowly draining your battery. So one thing to do. Oil, like I've mentioned before, the most important thing to do is keep your oil changed. Definitely something you want to always do. And checking your oil. And a lot of times a lot of times people these days, they just get in a car and go. They don't ever check anything. And I remember my grandfather, it seemed like, I think probably every day he lifted the hood. He had an old oily rag shoved down in the corner of the fender well on his old Chevy truck, and he'd pull that dipstick out and he'd check that oil and make sure that oil level was perfect. I mean, he wasn't a mechanic, didn't really know how to do a whole lot of mechanical stuff, but he knew how to check his oil and check his tires and check all his fluids and stuff. And I think if you don't know how to do that, get someone to show you, okay? And I think I even have a video on here somewhere on how to check your fluids on my channel here. it would be under the automotive repair playlist. And if you want to check that out, you can. But the most important thing, keeping your oil changed, okay? And coolant, I recommend changing that every 2 years or whatever the manufacturer recommendation is. I noticed I read on one of these sheets here, I thought it was kind of funny. It said, I won't mention the website I got it off of. But anyway, I can't remember where it was at now. On coolant. I thought it was kind of funny the way that it was written. It was something to the effect that make sure you check your coolant, because in the summertime, you know, it's a lot hotter and your car can overheat. Which, well, I guess that's true. But if you're having a problem with your car because of the cooling system, it's probably happening even when the weather's not so hot as well. You've got some sort of problem. But keeping it changed, keeping it maintained, is definitely something you definitely want to do. Coolant can break down too, just like motor oil. It can get to where it loses a lot of its qualities. It has lubricants and stuff in it as well. And I'm sure if y'all have been around, you've seen old cars, especially the ones that had cast iron blocks, and you take the radiator cap off of it, it's nothing but rust and rusty water. Well, that's because they never serviced the cooling system, okay? And all the additives that was in that coolant that was supposed to be there to keep rust from starting to build they just let it go, and it ends up it's all rusty and it's corroded, and then it can cause problems with the water pump, the thermostat, the heater core can get clogged up with rust. Any type of metal tubing running, like maybe under the intake, a coolant passage or something like that, those things will get rusted out and start leaking, okay? So definitely the cooling system is something that you definitely want to have it changed, have that fluid changed. Even at, now, do you need a coolant flush or something like that? Not necessarily. Most dealerships that I worked in, when we done a 30K service or a 60,000 mile service, and we were part of that service was servicing the cooling system, it was simply a drain and fill. We'd pull the petcock on the radiator, drain every how much would come out, a gallon to a gallon and a half, and fill it back up and top it off, okay? And if you'll do that once every couple of years, you'll keep enough of it replenished that you shouldn't have all those problems with rust and so forth. Let's see, let's get back to this first list here. I think I've lost where I was at. But anyway, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and fire away. Fire away. I need some questions. Or let me know where you're from. Or just say, hey. Just say, hey, Bobby. I just want to know that somebody's out there. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of lost where I was at. Anyway. All right. Let's see. What time is it? Let's see here. Oh, we've been going on here about 17 minutes. That's cool. All right. Let's see. Once again, I will mention that our email address is minthillbillymail@AOL. Oh, let's see here. Hey, my dad says hey. Hey, Dad, how are you doing? So, and Beach Bomb says, hey, Bobby, great info. Thanks for sharing. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's see here. And of course, at the minthillbillymail@AOL, if you are a company or something, want me to do a product review or what have you, please contact me through there. We can communicate on the details on that as well. And we do have links down below. If you want to support our channel, you can on Patreon, and we are on Facebook, Twitter, and soon to be Instagram, if I can figure out what my link is to that. Anyway, we'll put that on there as well. Alrighty. Okay, any questions out there, automotive or home improvement related, please let me know. and we will get to your questions. Let's see, I also have some stuff here on buying a used car, okay? We printed off some stuff today on buying a used car. And let's see what kind of tips they have for us on that. And then I'll share a few that I have as well. Okay, set your budget, okay? Now that sounds like a great idea. Set your budget on what you're going to spend on your car. Choose the right car. And it goes on to say pick the right model based on your needs, okay? So I guess if you're a husband and wife and 3 or 4 kids, it might be good to maybe have something like a minivan, something like that. In case at least one vehicle where you can all pile in and take a trip or take all the kids to school or something like that. We used to have a minivan, but not anymore. I have just a pickup truck and a Buick. Let's see, check reliability and ownership costs. What are they referring to there? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing. And you can do your research. Let's say you're going to buy this particular car over here, and you don't really know a whole lot of history about this car. Is it a good car or is it a bad car, what have you? Definitely do your research and find out how much it costs to maintain these cars. I can tell you right now, like here's a perfect example. These older Mercedes and BMWs and these Highline cars that are 10, 15 years old, sometimes people that really couldn't afford a new BMW or Mercedes, they'll say, well, hey, I'll pick one of these things up used, I can get a good price on it because, it's lost a lot of its value. But those cars are still very expensive to fix because some of the parts are really, really high. So do your homework on that, on some of these cars, and do a little research on what it costs to actually maintain some of these cars. Like if you did have to do a brake job or something like that. I remember when I worked at the Nissan dealership, there was this, I can't even remember, what's that real fancy race car type of car that they have? I can't even remember what it was, but we had one inside on the showroom floor. And to do a brake job on that thing, because it had racing brakes on it, all right? These cross-drilled rotors and these huge calipers and everything. And it cost like $5,000 to do a brake job on this car. And supposedly when they sold one of those cars, there was a waiver that the owner that bought that car, they let them know that when you have to do brakes on this car, it's going to be $5,000 if you have it done here, okay? And I remember that. So do your homework, guys. Let's see here. Locating good used cars. Let's see, search online, classifies the old-fashioned way, walk a car lot. Okay. Yeah, I guess those are all good tips. I'll tell you what I kind of like to find from time to time is a lot of times if you can find a car that belonged to an older couple or older gentleman or woman, that is typically sometimes might be a good deal, okay? Because older people sometimes seem to have a little bit more sense. I mean, they don't go racing their cars around and dogging them around. So you might find a car that actually hasn't been abused as much, and typically they spend the money and they have car service and stuff. So sometimes picking up a used car, it might be good to get one from an older couple, something like that. Maybe they're just updating, getting another car. So that is a good piece of advice. That's actually my Buick. I actually bought it from an older couple as well. But let's see here. Check a vehicle history report. Yeah, these days that's definitely something good. What is it? Carfax.com. You can actually run a VIN number and you can find out all kinds of information about a vehicle on there, whether it's been wrecked, whether it's been totaled, or so forth. Very good thing to do. Go on a test drive. Definitely test drive a car. I wouldn't buy a car without test driving it, unless it was an old junk car, that I was paying $100 for, just because I wanted it. I've bought a lot of them over the years, but yeah, definitely you want to test drive a car. And actually, if you have a mechanic friend or something, you might even want to have him test drive it, or at least have, see if if you're buying it from a private individual, see if they'll allow you to take it to your mechanic to where he can lift it up on the lift, take a look at it, and just kind of give it a once over, make sure it don't have, a lot of big frame damage or anything like that, or make sure the car is not rusted out underneath, and because that would be a good thing. I'd highly recommend that. Okay. And a test drive as well. That's why we got to talking about that. And that gives you a good indication of what's going on. If you got brake pulsation or something like that, you'll know that you'll have to probably do some brake work to it. Negotiate your best price. Yep, always do that. If someone's selling something for $3,500 a car, they'll probably take $3,000 for it. Okay, people usually know that. And the same thing I do when I sell stuff, I ask a little bit more than I really want, and then when they try to get me down on the price, I say, okay, all right, So makes them feel good. You're still getting what you want for it. So yeah, definitely negotiate for a better price. Okay. And let's see, I guess that's about it. Do we have any questions out there? Friends and neighbors, please fire away. I need at least a good question tonight before we close this show. Oh, I do have something here that I pulled this up. I thought I might start doing this on the show when we have some slow time. These are just the comments that come up in the order that they've received on my YouTube channel. And I got a very nice comment about an hour ago, okay? And let's see, I can't even remember what video this is on. Let's see if I can figure out what video it's on. Okay, it was on one of my roofing videos. I can't see the title of it. It starts off with MEA. I think it's how to measure and lay off a roof, maybe. And this gentleman here says, this is one of the best videos in YouTube history. Straight to the point and right on the money. If all DIY videos were this clear and concise. Let's see. Yeah, if only all DIY videos were this clear and concise. Thank you. Well, thank you for leaving me that wonderful comment. I love those kind of comments. Those are great. And because sometimes I don't get those kind of comments. Sometimes I get some pretty rough ones, And but anyway, that was pretty good. Thank you, sir. And see the one right below it here. Now this was on my video on the Charter Arms 22 revolver. I done a little unboxing video on that when we purchased it. And this guy says, I've been thinking about one of these myself. Not sure why everyone hates a 22 long rifle, but to each their own. It works like any other round if applied correctly. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I might add it's easier to apply correctly as well. Nice video. Well, thank you, sir. And yeah, 22, any of you guys out there that are gun guys, a 22 doesn't have very much kick to it. And the reason I purchased it was to have a gun to go to the range that I could teach my daughter how to shoot with. And so that's what we use that gun for. It's not a carry gun that I use, but we use it just for target shooting. I mean, shooting 22 ammo is dirt cheap, just to go plink around. And it's a good little gun to have around. I mean, if there's a varmint or a snake or something, big old copperhead out there or whatever, we might go out there and take care of business with him, But Anyway, so those were some pretty good comments here. Let's see here. And folks, if you have any questions, please fire away. We're about 30 minutes into this thing, and I'm going to hang on a little while longer. I see we have 5 people out there. We have 4 likes, and I want to thank you for the likes. And if you have a question, please fire away. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, this was a good comment. This fella right here. Okay. I don't know if y'all remember my video here a while back where I got a really nasty comment on a guy on my video where I chalked lines across on a roof, before I lay shingles. Well, I got a pretty nasty comment from this fella, and I kind of turned it into a teachable moment. I made a video about why I do chalk lines, okay, to where I can keep the shingles running nice and straight and do a really good, roofing job on a house. So I got a comment today on this video, and the guy says, you are right doing this process. For all of those who believe that you don't need a chalk line, always lines can be affected and ended up with a misaligned shingles. Okay, so he agrees with me. So that's good that there was someone else out there that agreed with me on that point there. That was awesome. So, and here's another fella. He says, thank you, great demonstration on, I think this is how to use a rear brake caliper tool video that I made. Okay. Alrighty. So folks, if you got any questions, please fire away or let me know where you're from. Or let's see here. Okay, here's a cool one. And this is something, I don't know if you guys saw the video that I made a while back where I fixed my daughter's computer, okay? Her laptop, it had a code 90B or something like that, where it was the fan inoperative on the laptop, and I decided to try to fix it, and we made a video about it. And here someone says, hey, let's see, hey, from Jason Jordan. Well, hello there, Jason. I'm glad you're here with us tonight. And he what was I saying? The laptop, I ended up trying to repair it because I knew my other alternative was I was going to have to buy my daughter another laptop. So we attempted to fix this thing, and we successfully fixed it, and we made a video about it. And this person here, I'm not naming names of these people because they may not want their name mentioned, but he says, you definitely helped. Thought I wasn't going to be able to make music for a while, but I got it. Thank you. Okay, so he was able, evidently he had the same problem with his laptop, and he followed our video and was able to fix his as well. So that was cool. Glad that was able to help somebody, because that was definitely a learning video for me. I was learning as I was making the video, so I'm not a computer expert. But folks, if you have any questions out there, please fire away. Let us know if you're having any problems with your car, or any questions about home improvement, or any questions just for me in general. Okay? And we'll stay here a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. And my son is here with us tonight. Would you like to come over and be a special guest and say hi to all the good people out there? Now be good now. This is live. Say hey to everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Nathaniel. This is my son, and took him with me last weekend, and he actually done a little bit. He done a hard day's work. How'd you like that?
Good.
Good. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you did, because we're going to do some more working this Saturday. Are you ready for that?
All right. See ya.
All right. Okay, guys. Any more questions? Fire away. All right. We'll be here just a few more minutes, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for tonight. But I appreciate everyone for being here tonight. Looks like we have 6 people here tonight. Now, 6 people. So if you have any questions out there, please fire away. And Nathaniel Pawpaw says hello. He waves back at you. All right, folks, I want to thank you for being here with us tonight. We're going to keep on doing this every Thursday night. And, you know, if you're here tonight, come back again next week. And we're going to hopefully build this thing up, and we can have plenty of questions and everything. And we're going to keep on doing. I feel like this is something that gives me a chance to be on one-on-one with everyone. I'm just going to continue doing it every Thursday night, 9 p.m. We will be here. Please tell a friend about us. Maybe you can get your friend to come talk to us too. Any questions that you have, be more than happy to try to answer them. And folks, we will see you. We'll have videos releasing sometime over the weekend as well. We typically, sometimes we get one off a day. I'm a little behind right now, so it might be one every other day for the next couple of days, and then we'll get some stuff rolling. But thank you again for being here tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And remember, we are on Patreon, Facebook, and Twitter, and soon to be Instagram. Have a wonderful evening, friends, and we'll see you next time. Take care.